Sri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Namaste everybody. Shivashakti Samarambham Bhaskararaya Madhyamam Asmat Srinatha Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Padadvandvam Avang Manasagocharam Rakta Shukla Prabhamishram Atarkyam Tripuram Mahaha. Namaste. So we will continue from the 8th shloka of the Sarva Siddhikari Stotram, Devi Stuti. Today we finished until the 7th shloka in the last class. So now we'll continue from the 8th shloka.
The 8th shloka starts with Tamikaraksharodharam Saratsaram Paratparam Pranamami Mahadevim Paramananda Rupini. So far, we saw that some of the aksharas from the Sri Vidya mantra were praised. The first verse, we saw that by starting with the word Ganesha, the glory of the akshara Ham was discussed. In the 4th verse, Yadakshara Sashir Jyotsna, we saw Sam was highlighted. In this, Sam, the akshara Sam, that is the 6th, that is the letter. It is also in the part of the Panchadashi mantra, Sam. In the 6th verse, Yadekadasham Adharam, we saw that Yam was praised. In this verse, let us see which bijam is praised. Tamikara Ksharodharam Sarat Saram Paratparam Pranamami Mahadevi Paramananda Rupini. You would have guessed it by now. That Tam Ikaram, Tamikara Kshara, Tam Ikara Kshara. So the syllable which is stressed here is the Ikara, the Akshara. So we are going to see the Ikara Aksharam in detail here. Here Bhaskararaya gives the essence and mahima or the greatness of Ikara. Tam pranamami. To her I bow. To whom? So to whom are we bowing? To the Mahadevi. That Mahadevi, which is the Sri Vidya mantra. Paramananda Rupini. She who gives extreme happiness. Tam Ikaram Aksharam Uddharam. That Mahadevi. So here he is giving that Tam Ikaram Aksharam Uddharam. That Maha. So
Tamikara
Ksharodharam. That Mahadevi who has been described with the Aksharam Ikaram, I bow to her. Ikara Rupaihi Aksharaihi Pradhanyena Uddharo Yasyaha Tam Kadividya Rupam Mahadevi Mahavidyam Pranamami. So here Bhaskararaya gives the Samasa Padam or the detailed explanation for this particular Tamikara Ksharodhara. He gives. Bhaskararaya says that I bow to that Mahadevi who is in the form of Kadividya and who is primarily described and known to us through the Ikara Aksharam. We are knowing her due to Ikara, means he is giving the Uddhara. That is, he is giving a Siddhanta or conclusion of Kadividya as Ikara is specific to Kadividya. So, in the first kutam of the Panchadashi, only the Kadividya has this Ikara Akshara. So, that is why this is the conclusion given is that this is the specific Kadividya is the one which is the subject matter or the whatever is described in this shloka. So, when you compare with Hadividya, Sadividya, he is bringing out the Kadividya. That is very important here. And for that, to justify Bhaskararaya, he brings a pramana from Rigveda that says that all materials, elements, etc., which have come together in this world for every living and non-living world are being nurtured and protected by the letter E, which is also the 4th letter. Also, the Kadividya has a speciality of having the 4-letter E. And it has the 4th letter, that is E. So and also it has 4 E's. That is very important. So we will come later about that, talking about that 4 E's. Another meaning is she is the one who is prayed as the Ikara. He says now that the third shloka, Yadaksharaika matre api samsiddhe spardhate naraha. He says that the third verse talks about this Ikara Aksharam. So he goes back and refers to the.
So in the third verse, we actually did not mention what syllable or matrika we have to pray with.
Yeah.
It just said if you pray with any one syllable,
Yeah.
you will be in competition with the seven gods. Spardhate naraha. So there he did not mention, the verse did not mention which syllable we have to do the meditation on or do sadhana on. So now Bhaskararaya connects this verse, 8th verse, with the third verse, and he says that the third verse actually talks about this
When we say Yat Aksharam, which Akshara, now he says actually that is the Ikara Akshara. Vedas also give importance to the Ikara. He says, Rigveda says, Chatvara im Bibhrati, that is a Rigveda Rig. Even though Shruti or the Veda talks about Ikara with Bindu, Bhaskararaya opines that we can take it as without Bindu. And so Bhaskararaya says, the Siddhantam of 4 E's are the Kadi Vidya, and this is also shown in the Lalita Trishati as well. So the Lalita Trishati again has the Kadi Vidya has the first 20 namavalis for the in the 300 Trishati mantras. The 300 mantras, the first 20 belong to the Kadi Vidya only. So he is again giving more proof why this particular verse is about the Kadi Vidya. And also Sundari Tapini Upanishad describes each kuta of the Sri Vidya mantra of Kadi Vidya and has equated it with Veda Gayatri mantras, and has said that all other Vidyas are born out of this. Also in the Brahmanda Puranam, Lalita Sahasranama Padashruti says, Sri Vidya evatu mantranam tatra kadir yatha para iti. Meaning of all the mantras, the best is Sri Vidya, and in Sri Vidya, Kadi Vidya is the highest. This verse is about the supremacy of Kadi Vidya, that is the 15-letter mantra or the Panchadashi mantra beginning with Ka. We will see more examples of why Kadi Vidya is supreme now.
So now, so that's the explanation for the first line, Tami Kara Ksharodharam, the first half of the first line.
Yeah.
Now we will look at the Sarat Saram Parat Param. What does it mean? Let us look at the word Sarat Saram. So Sarat Saram means actually something called Guna Punjam. Punjam in Sanskrit, it means a crowd, a group, a crowd. So he calls the Sarat Saram as a Guna Punjam, that is a crowd of all gunas. That is good gunas, sadgunas. Now, if you mix all the good gunas or the qualities in this entire world, whatever good gunas you find, you mix them all together, put them in a bowl, and you churn it like you churn to bring butter out of curd. What do you get? So he says, like, to get butter, what do we do? Like, first you collect all the cream on top of the curd, which is the saram of the curd, the thick cream of the curd. You put that in the bowl and then you churn it, and then comes the butter, which is the essence of that cream of the curd. So this essence of essence is what is meant by Sarat Saram. So Saram itself means essence. The essence of gunas is what is meant by Sarat Saram. So Bhaskararaya says that the Kadi Vidya is not just the essence of Devi, it is the Sarat Saram, that is the essence of the gunas. Now, what we need to understand here is that all mantras give us good benefits. It is not that only certain mantras from this Vidya or that Vidya is alone, it gives good benefits. So, but Bhaskararaya, since he belongs to the Kadi Vidya Mata, he says that the best of all such mantras is the Kadi Vidya. Even though he explains actually in his Vyakyanam that he says that Devi Stuti, we know that it starts with the word Ganesha. we saw that in the first class. Ganesha Graha Nakshatra. So Ganesha, the Bijakshara for Ganesha is hum. So in the first verse itself, many Vyakhyana Kartas, like whoever did the Vyakhyanas, they suggested that since the Devi Stuti started with the letter Ha, by saying Ganesha, it actually means the Ha, hum, which is actually the Hadi Vidya. So people think that, oh, this Devi Stuti itself belongs to, is actually a Stuti or in praise of the Hadi Vidya. But Bhaskararaya brings it to our attention that no, this 8th verse gives a superiority of Kadi Vidya over Hadi Vidya. Now, what is the benefit of Kadi Vidya? The next word, Sarat Saram, the Pranamami Mahadevim Paramananda Rupinim. So, the benefit of this Kadi Vidya is the Paramanandam. We get the Paramanandam. Bhaskararaya says, Paramanandaha Mokshaha Labha. So, what is the Labha for by doing sadhana of Kadi Vidya is you get the Paramanandam. Now, Vedas say that all living things live with only one aim for that highest happiness, that is the moksha, liberation. Now, that happiness will be bestowed by this Kadi Vidya, Bhaskararaya feels, and he says that this is what it is. And when this 4th letter E is joined with the Bindu, Eem, when it becomes Eem, Bhaskararaya says, we get the bhavana of Siva Shakti Samarasyam that gives us the eternal happiness or Paramanandam. So the verse is Tam Ikara Aksharodharam Sarat Saram Parat Param Pranamami Mahadevim Paramananda Rupini. So now we will move on to the next verse, 9th verse. Adyapi yasya jananti na managapi devataha keyam kasmad kwa keneti sarupa rupa bhavanam. So let me read it again. Adyapi yasya jananti na managapi devataha keyam kasmad kwa keneti sarupa rupa bhavana. So far we have seen the mantra rupam of Devi. We saw the E rupam, the Ye rupam, and we did anusandhanam of each mantra rupa of Devi. Now what do these aksharas establish? What do these matrika aksharas, the Eem, Yem, and the hum, sum, what did they all talk about? Which devata are they talking about? So this verse will talk about the devata nishkarsham, meaning this verse will give us a conclusion with certainty who that devata is. So that is what this verse is talking about. Adya api can be split as adya api means until now. This means when you say something something has not happened until now, that means it has not happened from the time beginning until now. That is, throughout the time that you lived, it has not happened, right? That's what you mean by the word until now. This means that anadi kalat arabhya, that is from anadi kalam, from the beginning of the kalam until now, this has not happened. So that means what has not happened? Devataha na manak api. Devataha api, even devatas. So until this moment, adyapi, devataha api, until now, even the devatas, manak. Manak means kinchit, very little, very, very small, tiny. So many crores of devatas are doing stuti of this devata, who is known by these aksharas, the eem, aim, and so on, from anadikala until now. But what happens? Na jananti. But they could not understand. They could not understand. What they could not understand is this devatas Sarupa Rupa Bhavanam. They could not understand this Devata's Sarupa Bhavam or Arupa Bhavam. Sarupa Rupa is Sarupa plus Arupa. So there are two types of bhavana of this Devata. So Adyapi Yasya Janti, Yasya, who that person, that Devata, who even the devatas devataha api, even the devatas adyapi until now na jananti, manak na jananti, even little bit they could not understand until now. That is right from the beginning of their time they could not understand until today. What they could not understand is that devatas sarupam or arupam. Now we'll look at sarupam and arupa bhavam in a bit. Now Bhaskararaya says, if this is the condition of the devatas, should I even separately talk about the alpa jivis like us? Where are we? Like there is, even the devatas could not understand what are we. Like there is nothing that I should separately even talk about the alpa jivis like us. Now some purva acharyas who have done the other vyakhyanas, they have described the word devatas as not actually the devatas, but they say that it indicates our indriyams. That is the stotram indriyam, the chakshu indriyam. Like they have mentioned, they have described this verse as, are we able to even see this devata? Are we able to hear this the devata? Or are we able to smell her? And so on. So Devya, now we will look at the Sarupa and Arupa Bhavam, what it means. Devyaha Bhavana Dvividaha Sarupa Arupa cha iti. That's what Bhaskararaya says. So that is, Devi's Bhavana are of two types. One is Sarupa and the second is Arupa. That is, there are two ways that Devi can be brought to our minds. One is the Sthula Rupa, that is doing Upasana using all the physical descriptions, is the first one. That is the Sarupa Bhavana. Like you have the Vigraha, whether she's sitting or standing or what kind of items she's wearing, you can see whether she's sitting on a lotus or is she, having different kinds of the physical description of Devi is given, and then you do the upasana for her. That is called the Sarupa Bhavana, and you bring that figure into your mind and you do the upasana. That is the Sthula Rupa. The second is the Arupa Bhavana, which is the upasana of the formless. There is no form to that Shakti, and you do the upasana for that. So that is the bhavam that one can get when you do the upasana of Devi. Now we did talk about the Stula, Sukshma and Para ways of upasana in the very opening class. Those who have not looked at it, please check it out. We have described it clearly there. Now here he is talking, when he talks about the Arupa Bhavana, he talks about the Pararupam that we talked in the first class. We said that it is only due to the Vasana from the Purva Janma Punya Karma that one can do the Para Upasthi, that is with the formless Upasana. And this definitely needs a high level of Chintana Shakti, and along with Guru's grace and Mantra Siddhi, one can get this. Bhaskararaya says that we have talked about the aksharams so far, the eam, aim, whenever we talked about those, they all are part of the Sukshma Rupa. They are the Sukshma Swarupa of Mantra. Devi becomes the Mantra Swarupa or the Sukshma Rupa of Devi. Now, in NityaShodashikarnava of Tantra, the one that this belongs to, there are two Chatushatis. That is, NityaShodashikarnava's another name is called Chatushati, but it has two parts. One is called the Purva Chatushati, and the second later part is called Uttara Chatushati. Now, Purva Chatushati talks about the Sthula Upasana, which talks about how to do yagams, how to do pujas, what are the things you need, how to draw a Sri Chakra, and what colors are to be put in the Sri Chakra, and how to do puja, etc., what kind of flowers you use, and all those things. No, but Uttara Chaturshati talks about all the bhavana upasana, the formless upasana, the mantra sadhana, nyasam, and all those things. Bhaskararaya says this NityaShodashikarnava of Tantra talks about both sthula and the para upasana. Both of them are described in the NityaShodashikarnava. Now, the second line, what does it mean? So, first line, I hope you all understand. Adhyapyasya jananti na managapi devataha. Even the devatas have not been able to understand her until today. Even a little bit, they have not been able to understand. Now, Keyam Kasmat Kwa Keneti Sarupa Rupa Bhavanam. Now, when you bring these two, Sarupa and Arupa Bhavana in Devi, there are 4 questions, Bhaskararaya says, have to be asked. Whether you bring her in the Sarupa form or in the Arupa form, formless. So, in these two bhavanas, there are important 4 questions. The first one is Kayam, second one is Kasmat, third is Kwa, fourth is Kena. So these are the 4 questions that you have to ask. Kayam means Ka Iyam. Ka is the question. Ka Iyam means who is she? Whether is she Sarupa or Arupa? Who is she? Does she have a form or does she not have a form? Then Kasmat. The second question you ask is, what is your origin? Where are you from? Oh Devi, you are in my chit. You are in the form of like Sarupa or Arupa in both bhavnas. You ask her, what is your origin? Where are you from? Where are you coming from? And then Kwa means Kutra. Where are you? What is your place? Where do you live?
Address, yeah.
What is your address? Where do you live? So that is what you ask, whether she comes with form or without form. And Kena, who is with you? Are you alone? Are you with somebody? Is anybody with you? Or are you with so many devatas are there with you? Who are you with? Are you just by yourself or are you with somebody else? Now, whether she is in the Sthula form or Arupa form, we need to ask these 4 questions. Who are you? Where are you from? Where do you live? And who else is with you? Now, even the Devatas who have been doing stuti from the Anadi Kala until now have not been able to get answers for these questions. Now, what can we tell about the human beings? That's what Bhaskararaya explains in his Vyakhana.
Yeah. And also, a very important point here is when Bhaskararaya also gives the other, when for the devatas, when he explains in his bhashya that it is a indriya, it means that this is known to many those who learn Vedanta, that when we are wanting to learn something which is beyond our perception, it is very difficult to learn that or understand that through our sense organs, like eye, ears, like reading something you cannot. So this is more, it means that only the highest can be attained through some experiential knowledge which is beyond our consciousness. Like you cannot
beyond
go
our indriyas.
Like beyond the consciousness is beyond our indriyas. It means that you cannot say, okay, you go to page number 10 of this book, then you can get that. No, you cannot read it, you cannot write it, or you cannot ask somebody, you cannot see that. So these are beyond our indriyas. That is why the devata, namanagapi devataha, even devatas, we can say that even devatas find it difficult. Or if you consider that devatas are our own indriyas,
yes.
You cannot do just with that. You have to do upasana and then get direct experiential knowledge. That is what it says, to get that para upasti. Yeah. Yes. So now we'll go to the shloka number 10.
Yes.
Yeah. Vande tamaham akshayam Chakarakshara Rupinim Devim Kulakalollasa Prolasantim Param Shivam.
So here actually we are using Kshakarākshara Rupini.
Yeah.
In Bhaskararaya's Vyakhyanam, he has used it as Akarakshara Rupini. So we will look at it. He has explained it himself.
Yeah.
So the Anvaya here will be Vande.
Yeah. Vande Tam Agam Akshayam Akara Akshara Rupini. So Akara Akshara Rupini Devi Kula Kala Kala Devim Kula Kala Ullasa Prolasantim Param Shivam. Tam Devi Aham Vande. To that Devi I bow. That Devi, we didn't know who she is already. We just said, like, who are you? We don't know. Like, nobody has known her, right? Where she is, who she is, from where she came, with whom she is with. Any of this, we don't know. But we say, whoever it is, I bow down. Immediately you say, whether you know or you are first prostrating yourself totally and then surrendering. You say, I bow down to you. Akshayam Akara Akshara Rupinim Devim Kula Kalollasa Prolasantim Param Shivam Devim Vande. Now we'll see the meaning. Akara Akshara Rupinim is very important. Akaro vai sarva vak, says the Veda or the Shruti. Akaram is the pradhanam in all the vak or speech. That is the first letter. And also we know that the Rig Veda and the Sama Veda, the first letter is A. So it says Agnimi, Le, Purohitam, and also Agna, Aya. So that A is very important. Also, Bhagavan, Lord Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita, that is a Smriti, he says, Aksharanam Akarosmi, says the Bhagavad Gita. So, out of all the Aksharas, Lord Krishna says he is the letter A. So, Sarve Varnanam Akara Eva Avinashaha Swarupaha. It is said that Akaram is the Avinashi Swarupam, that which does not die or depreciate or deplete. That Devi, who is the form of the indestructible Akaram. So here, it's very important that the Bhaskararaya brings the from both the Smriti, which is the Bhagavad Gita, and the Vedas, Rig Veda, he quotes from the Veda also. From that A is very important. Different Vyakhyanams are given for the Padam Kula Kala Ullasa. Yeah, Kula Kala Ullasa. So here, Devim Kula Kala Ullasa. So Kula Kala Ullasa. So we will see that here. Yeah. What are those Kulam? Here, one meaning is Kulam means the Sushumna Nadi. So we have seen even the Saundarlagari, it says Kula Patham. So in that Mahim Buladhar, it says Kula Patham means the Kula also means the path of the Kula here, Patha, or the path of that Kula means that is the Sushumna Nadi, which a yogi is going to use that to bring from the Kundalini from his Mooladhara Chakra to the Sahasrara. So that Kula means the Sushumna Nadi, and Kalam is Nadarvanam. That is Nada. Arnavam means ocean, and Nadam. So Nadam and Arnavam. Arnava means we know that it is ocean. So Nada is the sound. So it's the ocean of all the sounds, or ocean of Nadam. And Ullasam means the waves. So she is where this Devi is in the form of the waves, Ullasa.
Actually, Bhaskararaya uses Kalolola.
Yeah.
Instead of Ullasa, he has used Ullola.
Yeah.
We already saw that Ullola word before. Ullola means the waves. Now Ullasa is also been used, meaning that she is in Ullasa, in the bliss, in the
bliss, highest happiness.
Extreme happiness in this waves of the ocean of Nadam.
Yeah.
So both pathas are
and very important here, because I will see why that Nadam or the sound is important. She shines like Prolla Santim in the ocean of Nadam, in the Sushumna Nadi. She is shining. Bhaskararaya also decodes in the second way. This is actually, I would say, it's one of the brilliant explanations or thinking. Although he does not like fully give it, he holds it. So probably he wants, okay, let the sadhaka experience the meaning himself or herself. That is why. So here I'm trying to give my experience or the experiential knowledge which we get in from this particular pada. It is kula and kala. So the kula is kulani. He takes this as the 36 tattvas. That is, we know that the 36 tattvas are the Shiva Shakti, Shiva Shakti, Sadashiveshwara, Ishvara, Shuddha Vidya, Maya Kala, Avidya, Ragakala, Niyati, Purusha, Prakriti, Akankara, Buddhi, Mana, Shrotra, Tvak, Chakshu, Jikva, Grana, Bhak, Pani, Pada, Payu, Pastha, Sabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Sakandha, Akasha, Vayu, Vanni, Salila, Prithvi. So we know that the 36 sattvas start from the Shiva Tattva in the beginning and ends with the Prithvi Tattva. So we have to remember that this, all that the material, like even our physical body, all of this is because of these 36 tattvas. That is, from that Shiva Tattva, where he is in the form of pure consciousness, where is pure energy, or we cannot even describe that. That has come into, because of the Shakti's union, it has taken form of all these tattvas to come until this Prithvi, where we are able to live, enjoy, see all of this, see these different worlds, all of that. Although they are all nothing but the same highest chit or the consciousness. So here he is saying that these kulani are the 36 tattvas, and then he says kalaha shadushashtihi. He says he takes the 64 kalas here as the 64 art forms like music, dance, etc. So here, this is where I think the brilliance of Bhaskararaya is seen here, where he says Kala is 1/16th of this, and then he leaves it at it. So here, how he is going to explain this 1/6, 1/16th is the most, I would say, that is where it is like brilliantly done by.
So he says
1/16th of the kalas of the 64. It means he is going to talk about 64 divided by 16. 1/16 means 64 by 16. What is that? It is 4. So he is going to talk about that 4 later on. So that is why he just talks about, just says 1/16th means it is the 4. Let us see what is it later. He says the Kashmiri upasaka. So whenever you have to, I just give a brief about whenever it is Kashmiraha or the Kashmiris. He always refers to the Kashmiris. So we have to see that during those times there were like the Bharata Desha, there were distinctly the Vindhyas were like the middle of the Bharata Desha, and the southern part we had the Pancha Dravida, which is like today's Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra, and Maharashtra. And then the Pancha Gaudas are the five groups of people living north of the Vindhyas, like the Utkala, that is the today's Orissa, or the Bengal, the east part. Then you had the Nepal, Bihar, one of them, and also you had the Saraswata Gaudas, which is the Kashmiras. That is the Saraswata Gaudas. So these 5 Gaudas from the north, there one of them is the Saraswata Gaudas from the Kashmir. So they were the ones we know that today when we are doing any of these tantras, most of the knowledge we have today, they are from that. They emanated or they were originated in the Kashmir region. So that is why most of
Bhaskararaya refers to Kashmiri's Kashmiri upasakas work all the time in most of his Vyakhyanam. He always compares his Vyakhyanam with their Vyakhyanam.
So here, that is, I just wanted to give a brief about why somebody is just always, he says Kashmiraha ye kathayati, means why he says Kashmiras tell this, or like what is that Kashmir? So you should understand that. So here, Kashmiri Upasakas then mean Prolasanti as Vaikari, the Vaikari. So what is that Vaikari? Now he comes back to the, we said, right, that 1/16, that kala of that 64 kalas, that is the number 64 divided by 16 comes 4. And what is that 4? That is the vak, or this sound. Because this whole Devi Stuti is about the matrikas, or the sound, the Shabda Brahman. And the Shabda Brahman, that vak, originates as para in the Mooladhara Chakra and moves up as Pashyanti in the Swadhisthana and in the heart as the Madhyama, and bursts out as Vaikari from the Vishuddhi, or the throat. So that is, she is the Shabdarupini. When we say that Aksharas, Ha, Sa, Ye, etc., all the Aksharas, that is the Shabdarupini.
So even Lalita Sahasranama says,
yeah,
Para
Pratyakshati
Pratyakshati Rupa,
Rupa,
Pashyanti
Pashyanti
Paradevata,
Paradevata,
Madhyama Vaikari Rupa, Bhakta Manasa Hamsika.
So, yeah.
So she becomes the Vaikari from the Vishuddhi, but she originates from the Para. So these are the 4.
Yeah, the 4 which we have to infer when in the Vyakhyana he just says that is a Kala is a 1/16th part. That is a part. So what is that 1/16th of the 64? This is how we have to infer.
So he just goes about, explaining in different ways the word kula and kala.
Kala,
So which we would not think about all these things, but he's Devi himself. So he could get all this kind of knowledge, and he could just explain it in his Vyakyanam. Now I was talking about the Pathabedam before. We say akara kshakara kshara rupinim vande tam tam aham akshayam kshakaraakshara rupinim. Bhaskararaya has used the word akarakshara rupinim. He says that we can use both a or ksha, and he says we get the meaning in such case when you use the kshakarakshara rupinim, you get the meaning of the word akshayam, meaning akhandam or nityam.
Which is not destroy. That ksha is always. That is why when we say aksha, that is akshara, which is the first letter is a, and the last letter ksha. When you combine and say aksha, it means akshara. All the 51 malas, like akshara mala, are as a garland of all the letters. So this is about the letters. So the importance of that 51 letters is all. We know that this Devi Stuti is about the nyasa in different places. So we have to think about the whole thing as the Shabda Brahman here, as the sound of the Brahman, or Brahman as the sound form.
The
Nada Brahman.
So that's how she shines. Prolasantim, she shines in that, and she is in the Ullasa of the ocean of Nada. And
we'll now do the 2 slokas.
I think we just have 2 more.
Because we have like 10, 50, it will take, right?
Yeah, it's okay. I think we can proceed with the 11th shloka. The Varganu Krama Yogena Yasyam Matrashtakam Sthitam Vande Tamashta Vargotha Maha Siddhyashta Keshwarim. So we can split this verse as Varga Anukrama Yogena Yasyam Matra Ashtakam Sthitam Vande Tam Ashta Vargotha Maha Siddhi Ashtaka Ishwarim. Varga Anukrama Yogena Yasyam Matra Ashtakam Sthitam Vande Tam Ashtavargotha Mahasiddhi Ashtaka Ishwarim. So Varga Ashtakam. So we should now do the Anusandhanam of the verse. Akachadi tato nadha payasha akshara varginim. We learned there the different vargas of the Matrika Aksharas. Now you have to remember that. What were the vargas? A, ka, cha, ta, ta, pa, ya, sha. Now, so these are the Varga Ashtakam. Tam Ashtavargotha. So Ashtavargam means these are the 8 groups. Yasyam, in who. So Yasyam word itself it is in Ekavachanam. That is, it means singular. Now he is talking about 8 different groups, ka, cha, ta, pa, ta, ta, and all. But the word Yasyam, it means singular. Now, since each of these vargas, although they have a group of letters in that varga, like ka has ka, kha, ga, gha, nga, right? All these 5 letters together is called kavarga. Although they have many letters in that varga, each varga is itself treated as singular. So you have to treat these vargas as a ekavachanam, as yasyam. Each of this varga are linked. Take all of these vargas and you link them with the 8 mataraha. Matrashtakam sthitam. So matra ashtakam, 8 mataraha. Who are the 8 matas?
Mother.
Or matas. Mataraha means mothers. Who are they? Brahmi, Maheshwari, Kaumari, Vaishnavi, Varahi, Narasimhi, Chamunda, Mahalakshmi. So now each of these 8 mataras, the mothers, are linked with each of these 8 vargas. These matas individually, they have 8 siddhis. That is Ashtaka Siddhyashtakeshwarim. Siddhi Ashta. That is 8 siddhis. What are the 8 siddhis? Anima, Laghima, Mahima, Ishitva, Vashitva, Prakamya, Bhukti, Ichha. So all of these 8 siddhis, when each of these mothers have these 8 siddhis, multiplying this 8 siddhis with the 8 matas, we get 64. 8 into 8, 64. Mahasiddhi. Mahasiddhyashtakeshwarim. What does it mean? Mahasiddhi Ashtaka Ishwarim. That Devi, who is the totality of these 64 Mahasiddhis, I bow down. That is what it means. Vande Tam Ashtavargotha Mahasiddhi Ashtaka Ishwarim. To that Devi, who is the totality of these 64 Mahasiddhis, I bow down. Now let us look at the so basically the varganukrama yogena varga anukrama yogena yasyam matrashtakam sthitam. All these 8 vargas, the ashtamatrakas are ashtamataraha, they are all in the form of these 8 vargas, and each of these vargas have the 8 siddhis. So in total, these 8 vargas who are in the form of these the mothers, when all of the 64 Mahasiddhi, to that Devi I bow down. Now some people say that Mahasiddhi Ashtakam or the Ashtavak Devatas, like Bhaskararaya, as we just mentioned, Raghuji mentioned that he always compares what the Kashmiris have said about this. He has mentioned that Kashmiris, they have mentioned that the Mahasiddhi Ashtakam, they are linking that Ashtaka Siddhi with the Vak Devatas, Vashini, Kameshwari, Modini, Vimala, Aruna, Jaini, Kaulini, and Sarveshwari. So these Ashtavargas, they have taken it as the Vak Devatas, Ashta Vak Devatas. Now all mantras are made up of these alphabets called Varnamala, right? All these Vargas are combined together in different combinations. They give the Saptakoti mantras. They all represent nothing but these Shaktis. That Karanabhuta Shakti, Bhaskararaya says, that Karanabhuta Shakti, who is the cause to create all these Shaktis, where is she? She is found in the Swa Atma, or in our own Atma. That's how he finishes this Vyakhyana. Now we will move on to the last verse, Shloka 12. Kama Purna Jakarakhya Shripithantar Nivasinim Chatuhu Agnya Kosha Chaturagnya Kosha Bhutam Naumi Shri Tripuram Aham. Kamapurna Jakarakhya Sri Pithantar Nivasinim Chaturagnya Kosha Bhutam Naum Sri Tripuramaham. Now, he has a slight Pathabeda in his Vyakhyana. He has used it as Kamapurna Jakaradhya. He has given explanation for Jakaradhya, but then he says that there is a Pathabeda called Jakarakhya. For that also he has given a Vyakhyana. So we will look at that. Now, before we get into the meaning of this Kamapurna Jakarakhya, let us look at the Srishti Sthiti Laya Karyam of Devi. So Devi is called the Srishti Sthiti Laya Karidim. Srishti Karini, that she is the Srishti Kartri. She is the creator. She is also the protector and the destroyer. Now Lalita Sahasranama says Srishti Kartri Brahma Rupa Goptri Govinda Rupini Samharini Rudra Rupa Tirodhana Karishwari. Right? So Srishti Kartri Brahma Rupa, that is Devi, she is in the form of Brahma when Srishti happens. She takes the form of Govinda, Goptri Govinda Rupini, when she needs to protect this creation that she has just created. She takes the Rupa of Govinda. And Samharini Rudra Rupa, when she has to destroy, when she needs to do the Samharam of this creation, she takes the form of Rudra. So she is in the form of Brahma when Srishti happens, in the form of Govinda when it is protected, and at the time of Samharam, she is the Rudra. When she is in these forms of Brahma, Vishnu, and Rudra separately, the Rupas of Devi are called Vyashti Rupam. Vyashti. Vyashti means separate. She is also the Samashti Rupam, which is the combined form of these three Vyashti Rupams. So, in total, how many Rupams we get? We get Brahma Rupam, Vishnu Rupam, and Rudra Rupam, three Vyashti Rupams, and we get the fourth Samashti Rupam. Now, these four, when she is in the form of Brahma, then Vishnu, Rudra, and the Samashti Rupa, the Shaktis for these Rupas, when she takes these Rupas, they are called by the names Vama, Jeshtha, Raudri, and Ambika. So Vama is the Shakti for Brahmatma Shakti. That is, when she is in the form of Brahma to create to form the creation, the Shakti for that Rupa is called Vama. And when she takes the Sthiti Karyam, when she takes the Govinda, the Vishnu Rupa, then the Shakti for that is called the Jeshtha. And Raudri is the name of the Shakti when she does the Samharam. And for the Samashti Devata Shakti, all of these three together, the fourth Rupam that we said, Samashti Rupam, she takes the Shakti for that is Ambika. So you have to remember these names, Vama, Jeshtha, Raudri, and Ambika. Now, where is the dwelling place of these Shaktis? They have to be somewhere, right? So how you all know, like most of you, Pitha Puja is done. When Devi has to be invoked, yeah. We have to we have to do a Pitha. We have to invoke the Pitha for her first. So all of these four, each of these Vama, Jeshtha, Raudri, Ambika, they all have the Adhishthanam or the Pithams. What are the Pithams called? For Vama, when she is doing the Karyam of Srishti, the Pitha is called Kamarupam. And then for Jeshtha, for the Sthiti Karyam, for Jeshtha, the Pitham is called Purnagiri Pitham. And for Raudri, the Pitham where she dwells is called the Jalandhara Pitham. And the Ambika, the Samashti Devata Shakti, her Pitha is called the Odhyana Pitham. So Odhyana or Maha Odhyana, they are synonym, Mahodhyana Pitham. So Kamarupa Pitham, Purnagiri Pitham, and Jalandhara Pitham are for Vama, Jeshtha, and Raudri. Mahodhyana Pitham, Udhyana Pitham is called the for the Ambika, for the Samashti Rupa. Now, look at the verse now. Kama Purna Jakaradhya. I told you the Bhaskararaya uses the word Jakaradhya. Now, Kama Purna Jakaradhya. So, the first two words, Kama Purna, means Kamagiri Pitham and Purnagiri Pitham. Now, Jakaradhya means Jakarena Adhya, means Jakarena Yuktaha, along with Jakara. So, what starts with Jakara is the Jalandhara Pitham. So, the word Jakara, when you say Jakaradhya, it means Jalandhara Pitham. So, when you use our version, Jakarakhya, Akhya means Nama. So, that Pitha's Nama, whose Pitha's Nama is Jakara. So, that is what it means. So, they are both similar. You can use Jakaradhya or Jakarakhya. So, basically, the two letters, Kamapurna, Jakarakhya, are giving the Pithas of these three Shaktis, Vama, Jeshta and Raudri. Shri Pithantar Nivasini. Now, for Ambika, where does she live? Her Pitha is called Shri Pitha, that is a Shri Chakra, or because she is the Samashti Devata, right? She is the Adya Shakti. Her Pitha, the word Shri has been added because she is the chief of these Shaktis, and this is why her Pitha has the Shri in it, and that is the Odhyana Pitham. Kamapurna Jakarakhya Shri Pithantar Nivasini. So now Bhaskararaya also says why Shri has been added to for this Ambika's Pitha, the Odhyana Pitha, is because we add Shri for important places like Shri Sailam, Shri Puram, Sri Vidya. So when you want to actually make it a very important Pitham, important word, you prefix it with Shri. So and also he says there are so many Pithas, like the Pithanyasa for Devi, it has 51 different Pithas, but only these 4 Pithas are considered very important in Sri Vidya Upasana, and so only these 4 have been mainly discussed here in the first line. Kamapurna Jakarakhya Shri Pithantar Nivasini.
So now let us look at the second line. Chaturagnya Koshabhutam Naumishri Tripuramaham. He says there are 4 orders in these 4 Pithas. He quotes Devi Vakya from the Kurma Puranam. Mamaivagnya Parashaktihi Veda Samnya Puratani Riggajusama Rupena Sargadau Sampravartate. Because of my Agnya or order, Riggaju Sama Vedas are known to everyone. So that is only because of the Devi's order that it should be revealed, we are getting the knowledge of the Vedas. And Kosha means treasury, where precious things are kept. So these 4 important treasures are called Vedas because it has that is the highest treasure which we can imagine is all held in the Veda. So the Veda Mata is actually the Kosha. So here the Kosha is the Veda Mata who has all the 4 Vedas, all that knowledge which is there. Bhaskararaya says in Kalpa Sutra, Chaturagnya is mentioned as the 4 Amnayas, which we know: Purvamnayam, Uttaramnayam, Paschimamnayam, Dakshinamnayam. And Chatuhu also means the Urdhvamnyayam. And also we can also say Anuttaramnyaya. So it includes the Urdhvamnaya and Anuttaramnaya. So all the Amnayas are included here. When we say Chaturagnya means all the Agnya. And Kosha also means the Panchakosham, which is Kosha is also a sheath or covering. We have the Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, we know that to get that Brahmajnanam, the highest Brahman, then it is not that easy to directly go because of the coverings, like because of the avidya, we have to remove all that ignorance. So the first veil which you have to get is the Annamaya, which is the material, is the Annam here. Then the Pranamaya, then the Manomaya Kosham, Vijnanamaya Kosham, Anandamaya Kosham. So those are all the kosha and sheets here. And so it also means that with this we transcend to the Anandamaya, or the highest bliss, which is actually the Vedas are saying that is how everyone's aim in this world is to get that moksha, or the highest bliss. So Naumi Shri Tripuram Agam, with the Advaita Siddhantam, we get one Brahman in the end. Amnayams are the one who just follow the Vedas. Just like Vedas lead to the Advaita Siddhantam, what do Amnayams lead to? They also end in the Akhanda Brahman. Akhanda means without break. That is the always enjoying the bliss without any break. So the Panchakosham, when we cross one by one, each koshams also lead in the, at the end, I just mentioned that we end in the Anandamaya Kosham. That is the Parabrahman. And Tripura, one who has created the Trimurtis. So what is the meaning of Tripura here? One who has created the Trimurtis, who is also the Trayi. That is, Trayi also means the Veda Rupa. The Vedas, another name for Vedas are Trayi. And Puram means the Sri Puram, or the place where she is. At the end of the Srishti Sthiti Samharam, the entire universe merges into her, and that is why she is also called the Tripura. This only means that our Lakshyam is through Saguna Upasti to reach the Nirguna Upasti. Means the form we are doing the Upasana, which is the Saguna, some with the gunas, means some with the form, with the name, all that we are doing the Saguna Upasti. Why we are doing the Saguna Upasti? Because only when you do the Saguna Upasti, we can come to the level of Nirguna Upasti, which Nirguna is where we are praying to the formless. All tantrams explain the Saguna Upasti first, so it becomes easier to do Nirguna Upasti. And very, very important part is coming here. Why is Aham being explicitly said in this verse?
Shri Tripuram Aham.
Tripuram Aham. Because Aham Naumi. All these previous verses, nowhere Aham was used, because Aham is implied there. But if that Aham Naumi is given here, it means that it is not just I bow, right?
So they could have said Naumi Shri Tripuram. They didn't have to say Aham, Tripuram Aham. So Bhaskararaya explains
the importance of the word Aham here. So Aham here means the Ahankara, and we have to understand here that Ahankara is of two types, like I has two types. One is the Aparaha, that is, and that Apara Aham, we should not want it or need it, but that is the one which is very common. That Jiva should not want it, but being born as a Jiva, that Apara Aham, which is not required in this sadhana, is the one which is always coming into the forefront. So these Jivi, the Jivis think they do everything. Like, I do this, my name is this, I ate, I gave this to this person, I went, I. All the Apara I, which is not important in this. But the more important is the Paraha. That is the Paraha Aham. That Aham as the Paraha, not the Aparaha, which we said, which is on the Laukika. This is the Para, which is beyond, and only when with the Paraham you can get the highest. So the 36 Tattvas, Shiva to Prithvi, are this creation. So here, very briefly, he is giving the Paraha Aham Jnanam, or the knowledge of that Para, which is the 36 Tattvas, Shiva to Prithvi, are this creation. And that one who desires to know the knowledge of this creation made of these 36 Tattvas, that Aham is Paraha, which is what we should cultivate. We should cultivate that Paraha Aham. This is the desire required for a sadhaka who wants to take up the Sri Vidya Upasana. Because whenever the Sri Vidya Upasana, the first lesson they learn is what is it called the Tripura Siddhantam, where they get this. This is the gist of the Tripura Siddhantam about the 36 Tattvas. And what is that? Getting to the Parashiva, that Shiva, first principle Shiva, to understand is the Parajnanam, or the knowledge of that Para Aham. To understand the Parabrahman, which split itself into as the Dharma, which is Tripura Sundari, and Dharmi, which is the Shiva. So the Dharma Dharmi Bhavam is understanding. We need to have the Para Aham. Only understanding the Para Aham, you will know you can understand the Dharma and Dharmi. So those are slightly difficult concepts, but we just we have to understand this to get into the next level. He has also explained what kind of ahankaram we should have. He says, you should not wonder why this aham word has been put explicitly. The deeper meaning is very, very important here. So that is what it says. For this. And now we will come to the Palashruti. Iti dvadashabhihi shlokaihi. So stavanam sarva siddhikrite devyasvakhanda rupayaha stavanam tava tathyataha. So this is the sort of Palashruti. I am reciting these 12 verses. Who can give all siddhis in praise of that Akhanda Rupini Devi? So the gist of this is the greatness of mantras.
So we have
discussed so far. It's just a synopsis, or at the end, normally it is just giving a summary of what we have learned in all these 12 shlokas. That is the greatness of the mantras, the greatness of nyasas, greatness of devata, importance of bhavana in the upasana, and our guru has always insisted on doing nyasam, mantra japam, doing aradhana of Devi through all stotrams like Lalita Sahasranama, Lalita Trishati. All that is what is given in this 12th shloka. Then finally we are doing the last one is Bhumau Skalita Padanam Bhumireva Avalambanam Twijata Paradhanam Twijata Aparadhanam Tvameva Sharanam Shive. So beautiful verse. So here says, when we slip on this bhumi, slipping is like
Skalitam
means slipping. Because
when you fall,
so like if you are in an ice, if you stand, you will slip down and fall, right? We'll skate. So like same thing, you are slipping down. And who protects when we slip? It is actually the bhumi is protecting us as a adhara. When you slip, you don't go underneath. Still, you are in the bhumi is still protecting.
So the word avalambanam means the adhara. So she is herself protecting.
When we slip down.
When we slip down on the bhumi, she protects us and saves us. So when I do the aparadhas in my kriyas, forgive this child of yours and you become my ashrayam or my savior. So it's a very important study that we did. And one thing that we understand is the Parabrahman, it did not teach all these things by itself. It created another Swarupa as it split itself into Devi and Shiva. And as the Guru Vakya, Shiva is explaining these things to Devi. So it's very important. By this, what we understand is these things should be learned only from the Guru Mukha, like from your Guru, and how much ever you read, as Raghuji just explained, the experiential knowledge that can come through only with the sadhana, which is being guided by a Guru. So with this, we are finishing the study of Devi Stuti.
We are indeed blessed, actually, both of us, to even teach this Devi Stuti.
Like make an attempt to teach this.
Because even the Saundaryalagari first line says, Yadi Bhavati Shakta Prabhavita Nachedevam de Nakhalu Spandit Atastvam Aradhyam Harigara Virinchadibri Pranantum Stotum Va Katham Avkrita Punyaha Prabhavati. So even to talk about this Stuti, we should have done a lot of Purvajanna, Sukrutam or Punya. So you would have known now how important is this Devi Stuti. It is so exhilarating, so much. It gives so much joy just to understand the meaning as given by our Guru Bhaskararaya Makhi. We consider that, as I explained, that it is only our Purvajanma Sukrutam, that is good deeds done in previous births, to be part of this great Guru Parampara, where we have stalwarts Gurus who are Ambal Swarupam like Bhaskararaya, Kameshwara Nandanatha, And we dedicate these classes to the lotus feet of our Guru Sri Vimarshanandanatha. The time for learning comes to us only when the Guru Mandala and Amba's grace fall on us. Apangate labdhva, that grace of Amba or the Guru Mandala has to fall. Even the side glance is enough. These classes would not have been possible without the blessings of our Guru Sri Jnanananda Tirtha from our Siddhamalli ashram. Sri Jnanananda Tirtha provided continuous guidance and support to us to undertake this endeavor. As always, my father Sri Yajnarthan Dikshidhar was a great supporter, and his blessings to us made it possible to complete this work. Also, we owe a lot to my sister Maithili and my uncle Ramakrishna Dikshidhar for all their knowledge and insights on this topic. They both inspired us. We also thank all BPA volunteers who work tirelessly. And now, if you find this class useful, then it is only purely due to the blessings of our Guru Parampara, and we have no role in that if you find it useful. But if there are any errors, shortcomings in this, they are all only due to our ignorance, and we pray for forgiveness from Amba Mahatripa Sundari. Just as a small child learns to walk by slipping and falling down, we too are a tiny part in this ocean of knowledge. Bhumos Kalita Padanam, Bhumireva Valambanam, Twijata Paradhanam, Tveva Sharanam Shive.
Shivashakti Samarambham, Bhaskararaya Madhyamam, Asmat Srinatha Paryantam, Vande Guru Paramparam. So with this we conclude the study of Devi Stuti, and we will announce what the next class will be on, and hopefully you all can join, and hopefully you all made notes on these things, because it'll be a very constant reminder for you to enjoy this. And thank you all. Thank you so much for joining. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.